It's the Bruins Benders Podcast, Season 5, Episode 26, Nut Cutting Time with Maddie and Smitty, brought to you on the Inside the Rink Podcast Network at InsideTheRink.com. Get your Bruins news and info there. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe on YouTube, and get your comments in. For the episode, we will discuss Marco Sturm's comments about how proud he is of the team. Do you think the possible arrival of James Hagens would affect the team in any way? And also, Jeremy Swayman, 5th in the NHL in high danger chances. What's up with the defense? All that and more right here on the Bruins Benders Podcast. Follow us each on X at Bender Smitty, at Mr. Matty Barry. Send us an email at bruinsbenders@gmail.com. Well, here we are. 14 games to go. Bruins tied, or just, I guess, in the first wild card by regulation wins. A big one coming up on Saturday against Detroit, but first Winnipeg tomorrow. And who you might see there is one Lukas Reichel, who was called up, emergency call up today.
Yeah, very exciting news.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna take Alex Steves, Mikey, Eyssimont rotating third line spot.
Yeah.
He'll add a little speed, a little more speed. We've been talking about that lately. He has speed, he has ability, but he's never been able to put it together at the NHL level. Much like another guy on your Boston Bruins, Marat Huznadinov.
Yes.
Who also has some speed and some stick handling and skill, but hadn't really put it together at the NHL level until, I guess you could say, this season. He's kind of blossomed a little bit. So you got a couple of guys now that, I think this is kind of the Bruins' MO. They look to take first-round picks. Marcusi on Twitter went through a bunch of them. They've traded for like 10 or 12 first-round picks under Don Sweeney, trying to find some of that first-round talent in a bargain basement bin, and see if you can strike some gold. And I think the trade worked out when they traded Eric Haula for Pavel Zacha. They traded for Yoki Hayu. They traded for a bunch of other guys as well. And this Lukas Reichel is the latest example of that. And, we'll see how it goes. I mean, don't hold your breath or cross your fingers or anything, but like it's not a bad move. Like, I liked the move at the time. Like, there's, he's still young. There's some upside. If it doesn't work out, would you give up a 6th? I mean,
you're gonna fuck that pick up anyway.
I mean, it's 100% worth the chance, worth the risk.
Yes,
and you'll add a little speed and potentially some skill to the team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Is he better than Steves or Eyssimont? Probably. So I'll call it a little upgrade, and I'll give Sweeney his flowers. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's no risk. And I don't know if it's high reward, but it might be some reward. 23 years old, have some speed. Since 2016, I think there's 13 former first-round picks that the Bruins have acquired, starting way back with Drew Stafford. In 2016, there was Marcus Johansson. I mean, there were Charlie Coyle. There was a ton of first-round picks that they acquire, and some of them were Taylor Hall. Some of them were pretty good acquisitions that definitely panned out. Not many didn't, to be honest with you. And Lukas Reichel is a guy that, has some skill, has some speed, shows some flashes with Chicago. Was in a complete shithole in Vancouver. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, no one succeeds there. So he, give him a chance here. Hopefully he can play some sort of defense. But he has some skill and some speed, and maybe if you throw him on the third line next year with Minton and Geekie or something, maybe you have something there. I don't know, but at least they're going to give it a shot. It looks like. I don't know if he'll play tomorrow or not, whatever. But I think the word is that they want to get a look at him before the end of the year. So this is a perfect time to do it. I'm glad they're doing it. Because they're not just saying, well, we're in the playoff push, we got to stick with our guys. They're actually looking toward the future a little bit here during this run, which is a good thing. I'm not sure. Can somebody explain to me what happened with Matt Poitras? Like, did they just have they just decided something must have happened there?
I will tell you what I've heard through the grapevine, and you can call me Insider Jason.
Insider adjacent. Yeah. Insider adjacent.
Well, you want me to break some news?
Yeah, I think we have an inside. We need a sounder or something.
We need a sounder. Lucas Reichel is a wing, and they view Matthew Poitras more as a center. Is what I've been told. Now there's no room for him at center.
Yeah,
and they don't like him enough at center to bring him up and give him a chance.
They don't.
So take that for however you want to take it. Yeah. But that is what that's what I've heard as far as why it's a Reichel and not maybe a Poitras in this instance.
Okay, so
they both hate each other. I think Poitras hates the team, and I think the team hates him.
I think it's got to be deeper rooted than that. I don't know what happened.
Switched agents, wants to be traded, wants an opportunity. Yeah, feels like he's buried. I mean, and I think that's all valid from Matthew Poitras' standpoint. Like he sees a team that's not very good, struggles a little bit offensively, doesn't have a lot of talent on it, and he somehow still can't crack the lineup because they keep bringing in these third and fourth line guys. So if I was him, I would have a problem too, and I would want to go somewhere else where I could maybe get a fresh start.
And he did play a little bit of wing, Matt Curtis, when he was here. Maybe they don't like the results of it, but he did play some wing. Here's the problem. They kind of buried his value.
Sure.
So if they're looking for something in return and they think he's more valuable than the league thinks, then that's a problem. Like, this is probably why he hasn't been moved. So at some point, they're going to just have to say, you know what? Our bad. This didn't work out. We screwed this up somehow. But you're going to have to just kind of move on from him. You're going to have to. I mean, he's only 21. Like, that's the other thing is he has a little bit of skill and he's only 21. What if he grows into his body a little bit and he's able to kind of handle it somewhere else? And he turns into a pretty good player there, So there's still that kind of risk about it, I guess. There's a little bit of an inkling that he could do something in the league. I just don't understand. Well, I understand. If Elias Lindholm is making $8 million, he's playing center, and then Minton, of course, is playing center. It felt like at the beginning when they acquired Minton, that completely blocked Poitras. Like, that's it. Yeah. Like, Minton is a better version of what Poitras would ever be. So they got a better version of him, and they said, okay, it comes down to 220 running rolls, and we like this guy more than the other guy. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely true. But I think Poitras, has shown flashes at the NHL level that, I think he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to have a pretty good career. And the Bruins fans, whether the people that wanted to ship him out of town or the ones who deserved or thought he deserved a shot, are going to be able to say, I told you so, when he goes somewhere else and he ends up being pretty good. And they were like, what, the old Bob Lobel saying, why can't we get guys like that? Right. Like, they're going to trade him somewhere else and he's going to turn into a pretty good player. And they're going to say, what the fuck was Sweeney doing, for those 2 years where he's in Providence behind guys who aren't even on the team anymore, which is probably what's going to happen.
Right. And it wasn't that he was so super terrible defensively, because I think he was okay defensively. It wasn't like he was just playing with the puck only. The slight body is a big part of it. I mean, we saw that, but Jesus, it just seemed like the whole development stopped. Like, that's it. There's no chance. You would think if a guy like this, like, he gets hot, he gets 10 to 12 games, he's playing really well, then you bring him up. And then you see it again, and then you bring him down again, and you see, like, you kind of push the envelope a little bit, and they just stopped doing it. And guys were coming up. I mean, I saw the list of guys. They've only had like 5 call-ups since November. Callahan was one. I think there was another guy that was one. That was Billy Sweezy came up.
Yeah, Sweezy did.
There was another guy.
For the most part. They've been relatively healthy. I mean,
they have been.
They have been. That's not going to be. Yeah, that's not going to be Poitras. So, they've been relatively healthy. So, he hasn't gotten a chance. I do have the list here of all the first rounders. So, Lucas Reichel just happened. Mm-hmm. Viktor Soderstrom was 2019 first, 11th overall. Henry Jokiharju, 2017 first, 29th overall. Casey Middlestat, 8th overall. Pavel Zacha, 6th overall. Hampus Lindholm, 6th overall. Taylor Hall, 1st overall. Curtis Lazar, 17th overall. Nick Ritchie, 10th. Marcus Johansson, 24th. Charlie Coyle, 28th. Rick Nash, 1st. And Drew Stafford, 13th. So clearly something that Sweeney likes to do is acquire former first rounders. See if you can squeeze a little more. Excuse me, a little more out of them once they get to Boston.
Yeah, and it worked with Zacha.
Yeah,
Geekie wasn't a first. Was Geekie on that list?
Yeah, he was not. He's not on this list. He was not a first round pick.
He wasn't a first rounder.
I don't believe so.
Zacha, it worked with Zacha. And look, I mean, obviously, you go for talented people. Talented people, and see if a change of scenery will help. So we'll see what happens with Reichel if he plays left wing, and he works out a little bit. Then maybe we have a left wing going into next year, and obviously you're moving on from Eyssimont. I don't know what happens with Steve's. You have you have Kastelic, Kuraly's under contract, so the fourth line is still kind of there. You have Minton and Geekie.
Geekie was a third rounder in 2017, pick 67 to Carolina.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, so anyway, Lukas Reichel, emergency call-up. We'll see if he plays. He'll probably be in there in the Eyssimont Steve's spot. And maybe he plays with I don't know who's on the third line now. Is it Lindholm?
Yeah.
Lindholm, Geekie, and Reichel?
Yeah, that's probably what it'll be.
Maybe you get something there. I mean, Sturm played with his dad. There's a connection there. Former first round pick. And like you said, when you're in this type of predicament you are in right now, you have to see if something like this works out, because it's really going to be hard to find higher end talent. And obviously at some point this guy had some sort of high end talent or elite skill, or he was a high end prospect at one point. So maybe that works out for him. So we'll see. Bruins take on Winnipeg tomorrow, and we will go to the 7 Chirps, which is sponsored by Lops Brewing. It's a brewery and tasting room in downtown Woonsocket, Rhode Island, specializing in small batch ales and lagers. Open 7 days a week. Use the coupon code SPORTS to get 10% off your online order. Go to lopsbrewing.com or follow them at Lops Brewing on social media for new beers and events. Chirp 1. Marco Sturm makes some comments recently, proud of the team, and kind of grinding it out. Some people are saying soft on social media here and there. Is it soft, or does he know the team is grinding and kind of needs a little acknowledgement, pick me up, because he knows this is the second time I can think of where he seems to have a sense of where the team is.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, it was the same type of thing. Team was grinding. He said some good things about them, wasn't hard on them. I really think he has a finger on the pulse. I think he knows that they are on the end of the gas tank right now.
I 100% agree. I'm going to defer to Marco Sturm in this one. I feel like he's had a good year overall. I think he's gotten more out of this team than anyone could have possibly thought. And I think he does have his finger on the pulse of how the team is feeling right now. And I think he knows they need a little goose, a little pat on the back. And hopefully, those words, give the team a little bit of energy here down the stretch. I think that's what he's trying for. I think that's what he's hoping for. That his encouragement kind of gives them a little extra jump here down the stretch and can propel them into the playoffs. He's trying everything he possibly can do with the roster that he was dealt to squeeze every fucking ounce of blood out of this fucking stone. I mean, he's trying everything he can do. He's scratched guys. He's sacked guys. He's, told John Beecher to get the hell out of here. He's doing everything he possibly can do to will this team to the playoffs. So I'm with Marco Sturm on this one. If he thinks they need a pat on the back, give him a pat on the back. If he thinks they need a kick in the ass, give him a kick in the ass. So I'm, the only thing I would like to see from him change up I'd like to see him be a little more demonstrative with the officials.
Yeah.
Because I feel like other coaches sometimes can buy calls. And I don't think he does it because he's stoic. And that's his personality to a certain degree. But I think he needs to be a little bit more engaged with the officials, whether it's trying to buy a call or sticking up for his guys or whatever the case may be in that respect. But overall, I think he's done a sensational job with a team that's not very talented, honestly.
I would agree. Go ahead, Connor.
I feel like this is a mom and a dad scenario where Don Sweeney is the mom and Marco Sturm is the dad. And the team is the kid in this scenario. And, they did great on the report card and their mom and their dad are so proud. And they asked their mom, hey, can you get me this cool thing at the store? And dad looks at him and goes, we're real proud of you, son. Good job. That's what you did.
Right. I think that Sweeney and Sturm kind of know what this team is, where this team is. I mean, you have to be. I would question their I would question their hockey IQ if they didn't understand where this team is right now. There's people talking. Raycroft today on social media. The Bruins, I think, are third in points since January 1st or something.
Yeah, I saw all this.
But this team deserves a lot more credit than they're getting, yada, yada. But I think if you understand the game and understand how things are going, I think you get the fact that it's going to be really hard for them to make the playoffs. And also kind of the way they're playing, every ounce of effort just to stay in games, get it to overtime, get a loser point. It just seems to be like it's a slow bleed on the team. And if you're really paying attention without your Bruins black and gold glasses, I think that you would understand that that's kind of where it's going. And it just seems that way. And I think the team, as I mentioned yesterday, I think the team gives you that vibe that they're like, we're trying everything we can. We don't think we can do it, but we're trying everything we can because we want to, we are built on playing hard and trying hard. But I think even you can sense that even they aren't quite sure that they can get there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure they believe it. And they need that. They need that reassurance from the coach that is kind of like I believe in you guys kind of a thing. And I think the vote of confidence or whatever you want to call it, goes towards that end. It's okay, guys. Like, we got this. Somebody's got to appear confident. Somebody's got to portray confidence. So it's the coach right now. He's the one that is, trying to will these guys forward. And, we'll see if it works. I mean, they have a tough schedule. They still got to figure out how to win on the road. They got a bunch of playoff teams left. They got Columbus a couple of times. Like, they have a tough stretch. And Columbus has, really, really turned it around under Rick Bowness. Like, they're an entirely different team now. And are playing much, much better than they were earlier in the season. And so that's a tough ask for a team that, isn't very good and still is a little leaky defensively.
Yeah, well, as we'll see momentarily, a lot leaky defensively.
Yeah.
Chart number 2, Bruins third most points since game 60, +9 in the points. Why does it feel so differently? Like, it just, if you look at the numbers and you say, okay, boy, they're getting points and they're up amongst the league lead in points, and it just it feels completely differently than that, though. It feels like that it's just kind of slowly but surely falling apart. It's kind of a weird feeling. It's a weird situation.
I'll tell you why. Tell you why. Because they're all loser points, and you gave games away that you should have won. So it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
Like, you've had 3 games that you should have won those games. You ended up with nothing or loser points in those games. So yeah, you're getting points, but you're still losing the games. So that doesn't feel good. You've blown leads. That doesn't feel good.
You're losing on the road a lot.
Yeah, you're losing on the road still a lot. That doesn't feel good. Elias Lindholm and Morgan Geekie are in slumps right now. That doesn't feel good.
No.
There's a lot of reasons to say, well, this team's, kind of teetering here. Like you said, it's, it feels like a slow bleed. Yeah, they've gotten some points, but they're really not playing great right now. They're not. So, you add all that in, and that's the feeling around the team. It's not a very good feeling right now.
No. I still consider loser points losses. Like I still consider that a loss, because in the playoffs it's a loss. There's no participation trophies in the playoffs. There's no extra point in the playoffs. You lose the game in overtime. So that's a loss in the playoffs, and that's how I look at it.
Yeah, it is. It is a loss. I mean, it's called a loser point for a reason. You lost a fucking game.
You lost the game.
Yeah.
So and that's not going to get to where you need to get to. Right now, you're ahead in regulation wins, by 1 or 2 to a couple of teams. But if you keep getting loser points or losing games, then that they're going to catch up to you, and you're not going to even have that thing. So I just, I mean, I get it. They've been somehow getting some points, and obviously they win home games. But I just feel like it's just, you're starting to sense the kind of sense like this is the team that we thought they'd be. Not great in the power play, having trouble offensively, getting balanced scoring. Zacha and Pastrnak seem to be the only guys scoring. Like, this is kind of what I thought the team would be. Leaky defense, good goaltending, standing on your head goaltending. But this is kind of how I thought they'd be from the start. They weren't. They got balanced scoring. They had a great power play. They had a bad penalty kill. Now they have a good penalty kill. I thought they'd have a good one coming in. So what they are now is what I thought they'd start the season with. And this is kind of, you are who we thought you were at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you are who you are. And I think that's the Bruins are in that situation right now.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a bunch of those ifs that we had coming into the season. Like, is the goaltending going to be better? Is the power play going to be better? Is the special teams going to be better? Can they get balanced scoring? Like, there was a bunch of them. And for a while, all those things were going your way. Were going the Bruins' way. And they were playing above their heads. And then some things started to slip. The defense isn't as good. The power play struggles. The penalty kill struggles. Like, there's so many ifs. We've said it. Like, you're not going to hit on all of them. And they did for a while, and that was great. But now they're not. And this is kind of what we expected. Some things are going to go right, some things won't. And you're going to end up with a middle of the road or worse team is probably where they should be. And you can't continue to have that many different issues with the team all go your way. Like, it just doesn't happen. You're not going to continue to shoot it at 26, 27% all year long, Morgan Geekie. Like, things like that tend to even out. Same with, your power play and your penalty kill and all that stuff tends to even out over time. And that's what's happening now. They're kind of coming back to the mean where they should have been all along.
I mean, McAvoy missed some time and Pastrnak missed 5 games. But other than that, they've been relatively healthy. So that's helped them. Sure. The over-under for points for them going into the season, I think, was like 80.5. So they've surpassed that by a little bit. They'll probably end up with 90 points or whatever. So a little bit better than we thought.
For sure.
Again, not making the playoffs. And the other thing is you've had competition that hasn't been as good as you thought it was. I mean, Florida and Toronto completely, flamed out, which you didn't expect.
That's a big part of
it. I mean, the competition matters year to year. Like, some years you have this juggernaut. Like, what was it last year? Boston, Toronto, Florida, Tampa, all like balls. Like, they're all great teams. And then some years, like this year, and the condensed schedule has a big part in that, is that teams aren't quite as good as you thought. So now, you're a little bit better. You're playing okay because you're not really having those powerhouse teams. Then you play pretty well at home, and you get some pretty good goaltending, and you get some balanced scoring early, and all of a sudden you're piling up some points and some wins. But at the end of the day, it just isn't enough, and I just don't see. I will be stunned if they make the playoffs. I really will be. And I know other people will be like, well, they still have a real legitimate chance, which I guess they do. But I will be absolutely stunned if they make it.
Yeah, I don't really see it happening. I'm going to root for it to happen because, like we've talked about, like, you know, if you miss the playoffs by a spot or two, or you make it in, you might as well make it in. Like, at this point in time, that's what's going to happen. If you miss, it's going to be by a few spots. You're not going to fall into the lottery, so that's out. So you might as well make it and see how some of these young guys do in the pressure of the playoffs. See how Jeremy Swayman, can see if he can put up another really good playoff like he did last year, or whenever they made the last time they made it. So I think there's maybe some positive you can take out of them making it, and I like to see them win. So I'm going to root for them to make it. I think it's unlikely with the amount of road games and the amount of playoff teams they have to play coming down the stretch.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely. I think it's like, I think it was Pejman in here just said that it's going to be like 100 points as the pace to make the playoffs, which you didn't anticipate. It's usually like 86, 88.
Yeah,
it's about 10 points more than usual. So maybe in another type of year you make it. Maybe you do, but this year it's just. I just don't think you have enough. Chirp 3, do you think the possible arrival of James Hagens is affecting the team in any way? Do you think that do you think there's any effect at all on the current roster knowing that Hagens could come? I mean, what effect does that have on a team?
I think young guys coming in can give the team some energy. And I think, as you said, they've seemed kind of dead-legged and stuff. So I think a young guy coming in could give them a jolt. Now, he has to play well for that really to work, for them to really get a jolt out of the thing. He has to play well. Will he play well? I have no idea. I don't know. He earlier in the season in college, he was kind of disappointing to me because I thought he would kind of dominate this year, and it wasn't happening earlier in the season. Later in the season, he really started to dominate. So maybe he was figuring out the college level. The problem is there's going to be another significant jump now from the college game to the pro game.
Yeah.
Not only is he coming into the pro game, but he's coming into the pro game down the stretch when teams are hungry for the playoffs. So it's not just probably one level up. It's probably like 1.5 to 2 levels up. And it took him a year plus to kind of figure out college.
Right.
So I don't know if he's going to come in and have an instant impact. 5-on-5, I would say it's probably unlikely. If he does have any kind of impact, I think it would be on the power play. And I'm not sure how much he can really add. I don't know how much opportunity he'll get there. I think he'll get some, but I don't know how much. And so I wouldn't expect really a huge impact from him, down the stretch. Because I don't think they're going with Pasta either.
Yeah, I mean, it's dependent on a lot of things. If he goes in with Lindholm and Geekie, I don't know what that looks like. And here's the thing about him: if he comes in, say the last 8 games or something, and he doesn't play great, like. Do you run the risk of that thing? Like, okay, now people are talking about him. He's, they see some deficiencies and they're like, oh God, he's not going to be as good as we thought he is. And is that detrimental? Like, is that something that could backfire and hurt? Like, is that something that makes them think, well, maybe he should start in Providence next year, which I just don't think I want at all. But that's my fear, is that he comes in, he's like a -4. He's not really. He seems overwhelmed, and it's because he's coming into like borderline playoff hockey. He's coming into teams are trying to win, physical, high paced, high intensity, coming in right away. He's coming in from playing fucking Merrimack to playing Columbus on the road in a huge fucking game. So I don't know if that's. My fear is that becomes a detriment. People are saying, oh, geez, maybe he isn't what we thought he is.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. But I really want to see what he has. I'm really interested to see, if he kind of steps his game up, or if his game kind of transfers better to the NHL level with him playing with better players than he was playing with the BC. Like, I'm interested to see how he handles the physicality. Like, is his compete level there? I'm interested to see all of that. So I want to see it, whether, it ends up being, people being down on him. Like, we were down on Dean Letourneau and he turned around and had a great year the following year. I know it's college versus the pros, but just because a guy comes in and struggles for 8 games doesn't mean he's not going to be a good pro. It just might mean he's going to take a little while to adjust to the NHL game. And I think, they should give him a chance. Now, will they? That's a development issue and a development question. And we know this team's track record with that stuff. It's not great. So that gives me more pause than anything else. Like, if he comes in and he isn't great right away, like what's the Bruins? How do the Bruins help him reach his potential and get back to the NHL? That's what the fucking real issue is. If he doesn't come in and his balls right away,
there's not a great track record of that, is there?
No, it really isn't.
I can't think of a guy that went down to Providence and came back up and stuck. I can't think of a guy.
Well, I mean, a lot of the guys they drafted did originally. The Bergerons went down.
But that's not a fucking Don Sweeney pick.
No, I know.
That's not a Don Sweeney development.
No,
I mean, Jake DeBrusk was down for a little bit. That was his first guy, and then he came in and did okay. But since then, I don't know of guys.
No, because there isn't guys that they've brought in that have been any good. So I think the last couple of drafts have been better. They've increased their prospects, pool some, and I think it's this last 2 years worth of guys now that are going to be the ones that they kind of have to figure out. You have to develop and make sure that those guys can turn into NHL players, or you hope that they will.
I mean, you got like 3 or 4. Like it's like when you have a bowl of Lucky Charms and you have 4 little marshmallows in there. Sure. You scoop it all up with your spoon. There's nothing fucking left. Like it's a little top heavy, but there's still not a great prospect pool overall.
No, there isn't. It isn't, but it's much better than it was. I mean, they went from 32 to mid 20s or something.
Yeah, mid 20s.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have Hagens, you have Letourneau, you have Cooper Simpson, you have Zellers. Like, there's some guys-ish there.
Will Moore.
Will Moore. Like, he'll be back at BC. Like, Ryan Walsh. There's some guys. Pelosi, Gromwald. Like, there's some guys.
Okay.
But you still need those guys to develop some.
You do.
And, I think now is really where it's nut cutting time as far as the development goes. Like, can you develop those guys? These guys that you've drafted, they've said, even the national media said, like, the last couple of drafts have been better. So, like, can you now develop these guys?
Right.
And turn these guys into professionals that are impact guys, not guys that are going to come up and play on the 4th line or hop up and down, like real impact guys who are going to play in your top 9. Or top 6. Like, you really need some of that stuff to pay off for you now,
right?
To show that you can actually draft and develop guys. We'll see. I think it's still, to be determined. Like, it's still up in the air. That's still a question until you start doing it. And I think you got to do it more than once too. I don't think you can just say, well, we drafted James Hagens and we developed him and he came in and he's good. Yeah. Like, it can't just be James Hagens. He was 7th overall. He's supposed to be good.
He's supposed to be good. You can't miss that one.
Yeah, you have to do it with Dean Letourneau, who was the 29th pick or whatever he was. And you have to do it with Zellers, who you got in the trade, and he went to North Dakota. Like, you have to do it with more than one guy. You can't just develop one guy who was
like,
already be good and be like, we can draft and develop now.
Yeah,
that's not how it works. No. You got to turn that thing into a draft and development pipeline. You draft guys, you bring them into your system, you sprinkle some fucking coaching on them, you send them up, and then they play well, and then you can say, that's what we do. But until then, I think it's still to be determined.
To me, if you develop like a Letourneau and he becomes a really good NHL player, that's a good development story for you.
Absolutely.
Like even better than Hagens. Like Hagens should be pretty good, like you said. Like you develop on him a little bit and you teach him how to play in the pros, but he's got the package to do it. Like Letourneau was a project. Like,
Sure.
And if he develops into a really good top 6 center in the league, that's a good development story for you.
Mhm.
Here's the other question I have about those guys: Will Moore, Will Zellers, Cooper Simpson. First of all, not all those guys are going to pan out because that never happens.
Of course not.
Are those guys piss and vinegar?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Did they draft?
I haven't watched. No, did they draft to their identity? No, they did not. No, they did not.
All right. Go ahead, Connor.
I got 2 things here. One being the teams that are very successful have success in the later rounds of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that's a Don Sweeney problem directly. I think that's the scouting staff, which indirectly is Don Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the prospects in the pool are pretty dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but since Tyler Seguin was drafted, I think the lowest draft pick the Bruins had was Charlie McAvoy at 14.
Okay.
And if that stands, I think Pastrnak was 24, and then Vakanainen was 17, I believe, before you traded him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Beecher and Frederick.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of great opportunities for talent with those picks in my mind. And when you mix that with being dog shit at identifying talent overseas and in the later rounds,
mm-hmm.
it is a horrible mix for a prospect pool.
It is a horrible mix.
It is.
I will, and I hate to keep bringing it up. Well, I haven't in a while, but the 2015 draft, they were 13, 14, 15. So 13 is the closest, and that was Zadorov.
You're correct.
That was Zadorov. Yeah. But they also completely eliminated Canadian players, OHL players for a while.
They did.
Inexplicably. So it was, look, I don't know what their plan is drafting. They'll use the excuse that we didn't draft that high. Okay. But you also have teams all over the map who have guys. We just mentioned Morgan Geekie was in the 3rd. Kaprizov was in the 5th with a pick that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Braden Point's a 3rd rounder.
Yeah.
There's people all over the place who can play.
I mean, there were guys taken after Frederick and after Beecher who were good players. So that you can use that to a certain degree, but there were guys available there that you could have taken that would have ended up being NHL players. Yeah. So you missed. You can call it whatever you want to, but you missed. Like there were guys there. Alex DeBrincat was there. Like there were guys, really good players there that you passed on.
Yeah.
Because you didn't think they were good. Like Lane Hudson was a 2nd round pick. You could have had him in round 1.
Well, who's the one with Couture?
Logan Couture was that was a while ago.
Was that pre-Sweeney? Yeah, it must have been pre-Sweeney because he's out of the league, isn't he? But yeah, you had Couture for some you picked somebody and Couture was
there. Yeah.
But yeah, I just identifying people, drafting to identity, understanding what you're trying to accomplish. How do you draft guys and then a year later say that they don't have enough, jam and enough compete level? Aren't you trying to get guys with compete level? Isn't that what you're trying to do? So how do you get a guy and then 6 months later realize that he doesn't play hard? Like that's out of my mind.
I mean, that's a scouting mistake, and again, as Connor said, that falls back to Sweeney. Like it falls back to the GM. You have to give your scouts, a type of player that you want.
Or hire the right scouts, for fuck's sake.
That's what I mean. Like you have to give them a type of player you want, and if they're not finding the type of players that you're telling them to find, then you got to find new scouts. It's pretty simple. This is the type of player we want. If competitive is the number one thing on your list, then anybody that's not competitive should come off the list. I don't care how fucking talented they are. If you want guys that actually try hard, you have to draft guys that try hard. Not that you can't teach guys that part of it. Like you might be able to, in certain instances, goose them to get a little more out of them here and there, but you're not going to all of a sudden teach a guy to compete his ass off. Like that's not how that works. Like there's guys that do it and guys that don't do it. Brad Marchand does it all the time. Like all the time. And Alex DeBrincat does it all the time. He's a little guy. That's how he has to play.
You have to do it.
Caulfield competes his ass off. Brendan Gallagher competes his ass off.
Yes.
Like if you want players that play a certain way, you have to go out and, evaluate it properly and say, this is the type of guy we want. But I feel like they go for, we want a guy who's 6'4", and then we'll teach him to be competitive. No, it doesn't work that way.
That doesn't work that way. You can't teach you can't coach personality. You can't coach like drive and what you have, the fire in your belly. You can't do that. I've been coaching for 30 years. You can't pry it out of someone. It's not a skill that they develop. It's a skill that they have innately. So that's you can bang your head against the wall on that thing and try to put a square peg in a round hole. But that's not working. So that's my fear. They say piss and vinegar. I still think that there's that divide between Sweeney and Neely. Neely's like in the corner of the room saying, we're going to get more piss and vinegar. And Sweeney's like, well, we're going to trying to get this guy. And this guy looks pretty good. But Neely throws his piss and vinegar thing in. And I'm looking up and down the roster. And other than the fourth line, which most teams have piss and vinegar on, I don't see it. So you're trying to do a defensive system that doesn't fit a lot of the personnel. And now you're trying to say you're trying to be piss and vinegar when the top 9 in your forward group, done a lot of piss and vinegar. Hampus, Lindholm, Mason, Lohrei, piss and vinegar guys?
No.
Like, no. So I just listed 11 guys who don't fit that profile. So you need to completely change the makeup of your team if you're going to be that thing. So I just don't think that that's true. I don't think that that's the team doesn't reflect what you're saying. So
that goes back to identity. And can they draft and develop to their identity? And it doesn't seem like they can. Or did they pick the wrong identity? Can they figure out what their identity really is? I think the president of the team and the general manager of the team probably disagree on what the identity is.
Yeah.
So that's, again, an issue. Like, Cam, if you want to be the general manager of the team, be the general manager. Like, stop getting in the way of hockey operations if you're going to be the president of the team and you're going to raise money for charities and you're going to go out and glad hand and build buildings and whatever the case may be. Like, stay away unless he comes to you and says, we want to sign this guy for, 10 years at $10 million per. Like, get out of the fucking way, dude. It's not your job to be the general manager of the team. So
I really think he's more involved now.
I think he is too, but
it's not working Sweeney's way.
I know, but then fire Sweeney and be the general manager.
Right.
Like, we can't have two voices. Give me one voice, and this is the identity. This is what we're doing going forward. Don't have two fucking cooks in the kitchen. One guy's making fucking Jello pudding and the other guy's making, filet mignon. Like, fucking figure it out.
I think he gave his buddy 3 more years and they said, we can figure it out together. And it's not going to work.
Oh, no.
So I think that's what happened. Essentially, I think that he went to, Neely and Jacobs and them, they had a meeting and Neely was like, we can make this work. We can get this thing in the right direction. I'll be more involved in it. We'll get this thing done. And that's not going to work because they don't have a lot of the same philosophy.
No.
Sweeney wants puck movers and more finesse play and Neely wants to put you through the glass. So, Connor, go ahead.
How much do you think that the ownership of the Jacobs understands this period that the Bruins are having to go through after all the success versus they simply don't give a fuck?
I think you're wrong.
I think they don't. I don't think they watch a lot of hockey. I don't think they care about the hockey aspect. I think they care about the revenue. And they're able to charge enormous amounts of money for the tickets. They have a lot of TV revenue. They have a ton of concessions going on. The Celtics have a good team. The Bruins have a good team. They pack the place. So I think that they're happy with that thing. If the Bruins become bad and don't get better, and they're not getting the ticket, they're getting some not sellouts and stuff, that's going to be the one determining factor with them.
The reason that I asked that is obviously Sweeney sitting on his hands at the deadline doesn't scream trying to make the playoffs for more revenue. So I'm just kind of like in the back of my head, I still think at some extent, if the ownership doesn't pay any attention or have any hockey sense at all about what's happening, and they just strictly take it from Cam Neely and trust him, I just feel like they understand to some extent, naturally or via Neely, that need a couple years to kind of reset the wagon here and then back to business as usual. But
yeah, I mean, and they can reset the wagon for a couple of years because they can raise the ticket prices and the place will sell out. Like, they can do that for a couple of years.
I don't think Neely's a reset the wagon guy.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so. But I think that missing it 3 years in a row is going to set off some alarms if they do. So if they miss it this year, I really think they have to make it next year. And the Jacobs are going to kind of say, we miss having playoff ticket gates. We miss that. So, look, they fired guys. They fired Kuraly. They fired Mike O'Connell. Whenever the thing hit rock bottom, they fired guys. Like, that's how you lose a job as a GM. They've only had like 4 GMs in 40 years, 50 years, whatever it is. You get fired when it hits rock bottom. This team really hasn't hit rock bottom. I mean, last year was a little bit of a rock bottom, but they bounced right back and they're in a playoff position. So they really haven't been bad and just tanked the thing. And there were a couple of years in 05, 06 and stuff, and there was like a couple of years when Kuraly left that it wasn't great. So that's when you lose your job. So I think if they miss the playoffs this year, I think it's already been kind of smoothed over. But I think next year they have to make it. I don't think there's any question about it.
They definitely have to make it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And I think Neely will be here until we're all, until either he's dead and buried or we're dead and buried. He's the next Harry Sinden. He'll be here, but it'll be who's the GM. So, Sharp 4. Jeremy Swayman is 5th in the NHL on high danger chances faced. The defense is worse than the numbers say. System problem? People problem?
Yes. The defensive system, I don't think the Bruins have the personnel to play it. So I don't think they should be playing it, even though that's Sturm's system and maybe they got better at it. They're still giving up a ton of high danger chances. Under Claude, that wasn't a thing. The Bruins did not give up high danger chances. They just didn't. They were much better 5-on-5. And I think they should change the system to be closer to what they used to do. Because that's what you need to do with this personnel, I feel like. So the system should change, and I don't think they have the guys to play the system that they're currently playing. So I think they'd probably be better in the old system with the current personnel, because I think they have some guys that are tall, that have good sticks, that you could kind of pack that thing in, play the zone defense, keep people to the outside, and be able to affect
affect
passes and shots with stick position and reach. So I think they're kind of going about it the wrong way. I don't know if that's Jay Leach or Marco Sturm or both, but something needs to change there because they're just not good enough and it's not going in the right direction. Like, the defense has gotten progressively worse over time, not better. And I don't know if we'll get to it or not, but Columbus under Bonus, like, legitimately flipped the switch and changed almost the entire team's 5-on-5 play overnight, essentially. Mm-hmm. And they are one of the best defensive teams in the league now after being one of the worst teams defensively. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they're making a surge and getting into the playoff hunt and will probably overtake you. Mm. And it's all because they've dedicated themselves to defense, and Bonus has been a stickler about it, and he has a good system that fits their guys. Mm. And now they're playing really well. And I mean, the Bruins could use that. The Bruins need a Rick Bonus type flip of the switch on the defensive side of the puck in order to really get where they want to go, I think.
I agree. And I think there might be some tweaks to the defensive system, or there may be some more changes to the roster than we think. I mean, maybe Sturm, this is first year with Sturm. He's getting kind of this is sort of the beginning. He's going to get a look at the whole roster. He's going to see what works. And then maybe in the off season, they say, okay, let's start sending guys and let's start trying to get guys who fit this model better. I think that might happen. To what extent, I don't know. But I think Sturm has taken a ton of notes on this roster. And I think you're going to see some changes. You're going to figure out the guys he doesn't want on the team fairly quickly in the summer. And I'm with you. What boggles my mind is that you can come in with a completely different system, playing man-to-man and hybrid and all this, and have a roster who clearly there's some guys who just can't do it. So that leads me to believe that they're taking this 1 year to kind of implement the system, and then they're deciding who can do it and who can't, and they're moving on from those guys. If they don't, then they're clearly stupid.
I don't know what the answer is with all of that, and if it's Sturm just saying like, this is what I coach, because that's how it works in hockey. Like, guys have particular systems that they coach, and then they come in and implement it, and the guys are supposed to follow it and buy in. And I get all that, but you really should be looking at the personnel. And I don't know how you come into this team with the personnel it has and the lack of foot speed it has and say, yeah, we can skate man-to-man defensively with the likes of, the Edmontons and Colorados and Carolinas, Buffaloes, Tampa Bays of the world, and say, yeah, we can just keep up foot speed with these teams. It's a fucking joke. Like, you can't keep up. And that's why you struggle with some of these teams. That's why Detroit gives you problems, because Mason Raymond and Dylan Larkin can go by you basically whenever they want to. And you have Alex Steves out there tripping over himself trying to keep up with Rasmus Dahlin the last time they played Buffalo. Like, it just doesn't work. You don't have guys fast enough to keep up with guys in today's NHL. So I don't know why you look at this roster and say, yeah, Hampus Lindholm coming off a knee surgery, Andrew Peeke, Nikita Zadorov, Charlie McAvoy even doesn't have a lot of foot speed. Mason Lohrei, is fine. Like, they're bigger guys. You might be able to get away with, stick position and whatever, but they can't do it. So that's why you see all the hooking penalties, all the holding penalties, all those stick fouls are because they don't have the foot speed to keep up with guys one-on-one. So go back to the fucking zone defense like you should, and let those guys with their long reach and their sticks and the whatever play that way. Cover an area. So, they used to talk about it all the time. Brick, layers. Like, if a guy gets beat, there's another guy there because there's a layer to it. Right now, if a guy gets beat one-on-one, he's in alone.
Yeah. I mean, we saw with Nick Suzuki yesterday. I mean, they just kept losing him, and he's standing in front of Jeremy Swayman, standing there, 90 points. Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about systems all you want, but if you don't have the guys to play the system's not going to work in the end.
No, it isn't. And that's what leads me to believe that the roster's going to see some fairly significant changes, because I think there's some players on the team who just don't fit it well. So we'll see. Chirp 5, I'd rather overpay via trade. Would you rather overpay via trade to get a guy? Because you're going to have to overpay in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Overpay via trade or on a contract, overpay a UFA.
Overpay a UFA 100
Yes,
times out of 100.
100%.
Every
But
single.
they're going to probably have to overpay via trade.
Yeah.
To get some of the substance.
Probably because they're not going to be able to get UFAs to come here because the team's not good enough.
Yeah, it's not good enough, and it's also, tax implications. There's a lot of things that go on there.
All the things that go along with that. You're going to have to trade guys and, give up pieces you don't want to give up to bring a guy in. Hopefully that doesn't bite you in the ass, but if you're just overpaying in UFA, it's just money. Like, I don't care.
UFAs are typically 32-year-old guys who are
that's the other part of it.
The Tyler Toffolis of the world that are decent players, but that's what you're getting. You're not getting a guy at 25 years old, and even if it's Mitch Marner, he decides where he goes.
Right.
So go ahead, Connor.
Would you rather overpay for a guy like an Elias Lindholm in UFA, or would you rather overpay for somebody like Robert Thomas on the trade market? Right now, the UFA market is thin at best, with everybody being able to re-sign. So you're going to be overpaying for third and fourth line players at this point. I think you're actually forced now at this rate. If you want to improve your team, you have to be able to put together a trade package that a seller is willing to stomach.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways to look at it. It's also, how are you trying to build your team? Are you trying to win now, or are you trying to win in the future? Because if you're trying to win in the future, you're not going to go and overpay via trade, because in that trade for Robert Thomas, you're giving up James Hagens and probably Mason Lohrei and probably some other pieces. So, like, are you trying to, bring in Thomas to win with Pastrnak and McAvoy, and then you're going to have to go get some older guys in free agency to supplement that thing? Or are you trying to, win in a few years? And if that's the case, you're trying to get somebody in free agency that hopefully can play with Thomas, with Hagens, and, hope potentially Letourneau and Lohrei and some of those younger guys. So it depends kind of how you're trying to build the thing, and has Sweeney made up his mind how he's trying to build the thing? I don't think he has made up his mind. I think he's kind of stuck right in the middle, dipping a toe in like he always does.
That's what he does. Do you think if they miss the playoff, that there's a blockbuster coming, that they're going to try like hell to have a blockbuster trade?
No.
So you don't think there's going to be like a Lucic Hamilton type situation with Sweeney, that he
like blockbuster? But like, who do you mean bringing in a blockbuster?
Like a Robert Thomas, or
like a Robert Thomas? No,
like a Jason Robertson, or
no.
Okay.
No, I don't think he makes those kind of trades. I've said that all along. I will be shocked as fuck if he makes any kind of trade like that for a legitimate, top line guy. I would be shocked, because I don't think it happens. I don't think that's the kind of trades he wants to make. I think he's a around the edges guy. He's a fourth line first guy. He's a third pair extension first guy. That's what he does. He fucking tiptoes around the outside of it and doesn't actually ever get to the meat of the roster that you actually need to fucking win games in this league. And it drives me up a goddamn wall.
Yeah. All right, Connor, go ahead.
I'm just going to throw this trade at you, and you can yes or no. You can parse if you want. Doesn't matter to me. If you were going to get the Maple Leafs pick at 6 in this upcoming draft, and the Blues came to you and said, we'll take Lohrei, Poitras, and that 6 overall pick for Robert Thomas, are you doing it? Yes or no?
Yes.
I'm doing it. I think you do it for the top line center. It's so hard to get. I think you're doing it. I think I'm doing it for the top line center.
Yeah. He's 26. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm doing
26. It. And then you add Hagens to that, and all of a sudden you're kind of cooking with gas. Like, all of a sudden, when you're seeing how right now they're probably closer to the pack than we thought. Because look, they're in a playoff spot, and these other teams like Florida's aging, injuries, Toronto, God knows what they're doing. Like, you're in a spot right now that you didn't think you probably were in. It's a little more I guess is a little more to be positive about than you probably thought. Maybe you can get better a little quicker than you thought.
I think in that scenario, I would probably even give up like Florida's one as well.
Yeah. And
Like,
that's and that's if I'm getting like Thomas and Kyrou, I think of that too.
Lohrei and Poitras, like you're getting away easy in my mind if you're trading those two guys.
I don't be really easy.
St. Louis isn't doing that, in my opinion.
No,
like
I don't
it's gonna be Hagens. It's gonna be like Fraser Minton.
Yeah,
that would want back. Like,
I think if I'm the St. Louis Blues, I want Minton in the deal.
Yes,
100%. And I think that's going to be your problem now. Is that Minton's your only real, other than Zacha, maybe is your only real asset that people think you might be willing to give up if you offered something. So that's the problem. Is that anytime anybody of a significance, the other team, if they have any common sense, be like, okay, Fraser Minton's the start, and they're not gonna be willing to give up Fraser Minton.
No,
they're not.
Here's what the problem was with the Bruins, because they don't have a lot of assets that other people want. Is you're trying to get better. So when you're going somewhere else and asking somebody to trade you Robert Thomas, they're going to say, we want some of your better guys, but that doesn't work for you because you need to keep your better guys and add more better guys.
Yes.
Like, you can't afford to subtract like two pretty good guys to get a better guy. Like you can't really afford that. You need to keep your better guys. That's why I don't think the Poitras Lohrei thing makes sense, because I think they would be like Hagens, Minton, and a one, or something like that.
Or they've got to take like Letourneau
or Minton, Lohrei, and a one. Like it's gonna hurt. Like if you're giving up, you're going to have to give up something to get a 26-year-old first-line center that, scored 90 points in the league. Like, it's not just going to be a couple of, 4A guys throw-ins. No. Like, I love people that, no slight to you, Connor, but, everybody gives their, like, the best guys in the AHL that no one wants.
Right.
That's the trade. Like Lysell, Poitras, like, we're going to give up all these guys that can't crack the Bruins.
Yes.
And supposedly St. Louis is going to want all those guys. Like, no, they're not. They're going to want Minton. They're going to want Hagens. They're going to want the 6th overall pick. They're going to want Letourneau. They're going to want guys that are good, that have been proven at the NHL level. You're not going to get Robert Thomas for.
Honestly, I'd consider doing. I would, and this is going to crush everybody's dreams, but I would consider doing Minton, Lohrei in the 6th pick for Robert Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, because Robert Thomas is a top flight. He's a number one center. I mean, we love Fraser Minton.
We do.
But it's like when you're in, like, if you're in Florida and all these women are there and everybody looks great, but then you're in Wisconsin and one every 100 women look great. That's Fraser Minton right now. Like, he looks great because the team doesn't have a ton of talent and he's 21. But at the end of the day, he's a 40-point guy. You know what I mean? Like, let's not make him into, Ron Francis. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
He's a nice looking player at 21 years old. He's a nice looking player.
Yeah, with potential. Sure.
But Robert Thomas is a 80-point fucking guy who's done it in the league, and he's 26 on a pretty good contract. I just think from a hockey sense that I would include Minton in a deal for Robert Thomas if it made sense. I think we're dying as Bruins fans, and I'm with you. We're dying to have a young player,
so
20 years old, become a really good player.
So just for some context, I believe this was Robert Thomas's 21-year-old season in 21-22, right? That would fly. That would jive.
Yeah.
21-22. So in that season, he played 72 games, had 20 goals, 57 assists, 77 points, and he was plus 17.
Yeah.
Just for context.
Was that his rookie year?
No, it was not his rookie year.
How many years was he in the league at that point?
That was his 4th year in the league.
Not apples to apples in my eyes.
Okay.
Give me his
so
first or his
Fraser
second
Minten
year.
The
is
same
gonna have
age.
77 points.
You're going to penalize Robert Thomas for being in the NHL 3 years earlier than that.
Earlier than Fraser Minten.
No, I'm
which
just
makes him a
saying,
better
like,
prospect.
what were his point totals in his first or his second year in the league?
So
with
his
a full
first year
season?
in the league, he had 70 games played, 9 goals, 24 assists, 33 points. Second year in the league, he played 66 games, 10, 32, 42. And then in the year after that, he was hurt. He only played 33 games, had 12 points.
So my point here isn't to bash him for being in the league earlier, but what I'm saying is this should be Fraser Mitten's base at this point, being his first year in the league. He should be able to build off this like Robert Thomas did in his career. Not, parsing it at all, but a rookie year and just your straight up 21st-year-old year,
Okay.
that would be like comparing Chikrin and
all right, let's do that. So then
4 years from now.
Yeah, 4 years from now is when you get to 77-point Fraser Minten. You're going to wait that long?
Yeah, because David Pastrnak's 33 years old at that point.
David Pastrnak's done by then.
Yeah.
So if Fraser Minten's going to do this year, he has 40 points. Next year, he's going to have 40 points. The year after that, he's going to have 12 points. Everybody's going to be ready to ship him out of town. And Sweeney probably would trade him if he had 12 points in year 3. And then you finally get the payoff 4 years from now.
Yeah.
You wait now.
That's the problem you have is that the good players you have, McAvoy, Pastrnak, those guys are like pushing 30. So if you're waiting 3 or 4 years for Letourneau and Hagens and these guys to really get to where they need to be, those guys are old now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you guys are now asking the important question that is to be asked. Sweeney has alluded to it of what core he's really trying to address.
Right.
The Pastrnak, the McAvoy, the Swayman core, or something following that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more that he sits on his hands, the more he's trying to give himself time, but the more that he's forcing himself into option B.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's forcing himself into option B, and that's not going to make anybody happy because in option B, David Pastrnak leaves to go somewhere else.
Right. And Don Sweeney might not be here.
Someone else. And Don Sweeney's not going to be. If Don Sweeney trades David Pastrnak, he's not going to be the GM after that.
No.
In theory, let's get crazy.
No, he's not going to survive it. He'll trade David Pastrnak, and then the team will suck because the return will suck.
And they'll get
and then he'll be fired.
Yes.
Well, let's have some fun. Let's take some seriousness aside and play with it. If the Bruins, Sweeney or not, were to trade David Pastrnak, what would you look for in a return in, we'll just say this offseason or next?
You would need a guy like Robert Thomas-ish in return, number one. Yeah. If you're trading David Pastrnak, you're getting a mid-20s number one center back in return. You're getting a number one pick and hopefully
a really good defenseman
and like a D prospect or a really good defenseman back in return.
Yeah. Look, you never win those trades.
Nope.
Like Joe Thornton, Ray Bourque,
Tyler Seguin.
You never win those trades.
Nope.
So you're going to get lesser than Pastrnak deserves back in return. You just are. You're going to lose that trade. Mm-hmm. So, you're going to get a couple NHL players and probably a pick or prospect or whatever. But again, 4 of these doesn't equal 1 of these.
Nope. Never does.
That's when you're basically saying David's not part of the plan. We're not going to be good enough for him to be a part of the plan. So we have to get what we can get for him now. So, and that's never a good thing. So look, if Hagens is pretty good right away, then they have a little bit of a better chance to get in Pasternak's window. Hagens is very important to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like really important. If he's not great, then I don't know what the fuck they do, to be honest with you. I don't. Like, he's so vitally important. I don't know if people really understand how important he is. It is. It's ridiculously important. He can't just be 40-point guy.
No, he's the kind of the glue between whether they can go for it in Pasternak's window or not.
Yes.
It almost really comes down to that.
It does. It does. Especially if they don't get this Toronto pick. It's going to be about Hagens. Because when are you going to get another pick in the top 10 if you don't get the Toronto pick? I don't know. Not for a while.
Anytime soon, because you're going to be,
decent.
You're going to be stuck in the middle.
Yeah, you're in the middle.
Exactly where we didn't want them to be.
Extremely important. He's got to be at least a 60 to 70 point top 6 guy. He has to be.
Yeah.
He has to be. Or you deal him for Robert Thomas or whatever. Like, it's just, that's the way it is. Chirp 6, Doug Armstrong steps down as Team Canada GM for the Olympics. Does this open the door for Sweens?
Sweens absolutely is chomping at the bit.
He does okay when he does. Well, I would imagine.
Look,
I think if Sweens is there, they might play younger guys. No, not younger guys, but more talented, skilled guys. I should say, not younger.
I think that is one of the easiest jobs in the history of the world.
Oh, it's gotta be.
And I don't know how they've fucked it up. You know, I don't know how they messed it up this last time. I mean, I know it's an old boys network, and I know it works that way. I mean, it worked that way. Team USA too. Charlie McAvoy in interviews afterwards has talked about it. All of those guys on that team knew each other from the National Team Development Program. Yeah. There was like 17 of them or whatever.
Canada needs that type of thing.
At the NDDP, or whatever the fuck it's called.
That's going to change the way Canada does things, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think that national team program was a huge.
It was a great idea and a great thing.
It really did. And it's helped them internationally for sure. But Canada has a ton of talent. And I think whoever is the general manager of that thing, it's almost hard to fuck it up, which is why
the thing.
Doug Armstrong, I think, is stepping down.
The way I look at it is, I mean, you could question some things, but did they really fuck it up? They fucking manhandled U.S. in the gold medal game. They get goalied. Like,
they don't have goalies. I mean, that's a development issue for Canada, not necessarily the general manager of Canada, but it's a problem for Canada as a whole. Like, they haven't had a really good goalie since Carey Price.
Carey Price, yeah. That's true.
So, I don't know what the hell they're doing up there with that thing, but I mean, it really is an easy job. It really is. I mean, there's ungodly riches to choose from. They could form a second team that would probably win silver.
Yeah.
I mean, they could go back to, play against each other in the fucking gold medal game. I mean, they have that much talent. They really do.
But I'll tell you, with Schaefer and Bedard and them, adding on and stuff, the U.S. still, it's going to take a lot for the U.S. to win the next Olympics.
Absolutely.
They it's keeping up with these really good players that Canada keeps coming out with. There's a next tier that's much better than what the U.S. has to offer. So, that next Olympic, I would think that Canada would be the absolutely.
And they keep churning them out. I mean, there's Landon Dupont is a 16-year-old who's putting up records in Canada now as a defenseman, and then there's Gavin McKenna, and there's Porter Martel. Like, there's a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
In that next level.
Sure.
Schaefer included with them, that hasn't played really internationally yet. For Team Canada men's team. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys there on that next level, like you said, that I think the U.S. can't really match.
No, you're right. Trip 7, George Paros, with his comments, he loves his group that handles discipline. Loves it.
Loves it.
Loves it like hell. Here are some of the comments. We sweat over these decisions and pour over these decisions every night all season long. We have a process in place that's consistent. We have a team that works for me and together with me that evaluates all these plays. A very experienced team, a veteran team, guys that have been there since the beginning of the department, not to mention all the former players that have a large set of experiences playing NHL games, accolades. Some of the best guys that have played the game work for this department, help make decisions. So our process, I feel very confident in. We've got great guys who make these decisions, and I think the players should be confident in this team to do so. Here's what stands out to me is this phrase right here. A very experienced team, a veteran team, guys that have been there since the beginning of the department.
Yeah,
you need some fresh voices, dude.
Look, I mean, he has confidence, and he thinks that the players and fans and whatever should have confidence, but they don't. They don't. You have players constantly speaking out. Charlie McAvoy spoke out without speaking out. Yes, Connor McDavid just spoke out. Like people, players especially, don't like the way things are being handled.
No.
Toronto was livid after the Matthews hit and a 5-game suspension for Joonas. He's a repeat offender. Why is he getting 5 games? Yeah. There needs to be a complete overhaul of the department. There needs to be a complete overhaul in the way they do things and the transparency of it all and how they handle things. And I don't know if the league needs to get involved, if the players need to get involved and do some kind of a collective bargaining thing or however they're going to handle it. But how they're doing it now isn't working because fans and players are up in arms about the thing.
Yeah. Tkachuk, he's right. Victoria's right. Brady Tkachuk was talking about it in the podcast too. Guys are being very vocal about it. Look, are you worried about CTE and head shots and all this stuff, or aren't you? Like they speak a good game, but then their actions don't match up. So that they want to still be hockey. And if there was no outcry, they would just be hockey, and it would be like 1970 again. They wouldn't give two shits, honestly, because that's part of the entertainment value. That's part of hockey. That's what these guys think hockey's hockey, and for men. So, but the outcry is so much that they have to acknowledge it, but they just kind of acknowledge it. But then their actions don't match up. So, Connor, go ahead.
Did you guys see or hear any of the comments coming out of the general managers meeting and Gary Bettman?
Oh, yes. There was a fight, I guess, between Bettman and a GM.
Yeah. So it came out and it was published which GM it was. It was Connor's second favorite team, the Carolina Hurricanes, general manager Eric Tulsky. And here's a little snippet. I believe this is from the Hockey News, but I'm not sure where this person sourced the info from. It says, according to league sources, Hurricanes GM Eric Tulsky raised the ire of Bettman when he suggested the standard had slipped on headshots. The commissioner is said to have retorted that it was Tulsky's team owner, Tom Dundon, who was making him bring that up. Whatever the case, managers were buzzing about it after the meeting.
Well, Bettman's
I don't know why an owner of a team would be the one to raise that issue. No. I think he's more concerned about how much money.
No. He sent the general manager, Tulsky, to the conference to bring it up.
Right.
Dundon was saying, like, you need to bring this up in the general manager's meeting.
Right. So what Smitty's saying is, why would the owner give a shit?
Yeah. Why is the owner raising that issue? That doesn't seem like something the owner would be concerned with.
I wouldn't think at all. I think that's the GM hearing it from the players and speaking up.
Yes.
That's what I think it's from. And there's many players who speak up about it. And,
he is a pretty involved owner as well, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the players are going to the owner, and maybe the owner's saying, GM, take care of this for me, please. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Sure.
I guess. But I think I don't think it's coming from ownership. I don't think it's coming necessarily from general managers other than them trying to protect their players. And I think it's players that are raising the issue. Like McAvoy did, like Connor McDavid did. Like it's an issue amongst the players. They want this to be handled better, policed better, more consistently, more transparently. And I think with good reason. Look, I love hockey. I love the fighting. I love all that stuff. And I don't necessarily think, fighting should be outlawed or fighting should be, you should get suspended or anything. But like blind headshots and like cross checks to the face or spearing or, whatever it is, like, that's knee on knee hits by a cheap guy in Joonas. Like that stuff should be, tried to be taken out of the game. Like there's no place for that. Like the fighting, that's honorable. A couple of guys drop the gloves and go at it.
Fighting has purpose. It
Yeah.
does.
Like if you're going to run one of my guys, I'm going to run one of your guys and we're going to fight about it. Like that, if the referees aren't going to take, policing the game into account when it happens, then the players have to take care of it themselves. And that's, the fighting is kind of built in. That's how it's taken care of.
Sure.
So, I feel like they need to worry about the cheap shots and that kind of stuff, but leave in, the fighting and the hitting and stuff that, people expect from hockey.
That's for sure. All right, Connor's Corner.
Just a quick fix on the last one. It wasn't from the Hockey News. It was Michael Russo at The Athletic that published that. So pretty reputable.
Mm-hmm.
Can be trusted.
Yeah.
The first one on the corner, I gave you guys this earlier this week, so you had a little bit of preparation. Recently, the Steve Dangle podcast started pitching some ideas for a new entertainment mid-season instead of the All-Star game in between the Olympics and the World Cup. And they pitched a U.S. state versus state or a Canadian province versus province kind of all-star style event. So this would pit Team Massachusetts versus Team Michigan or Team Minnesota, whoever. If you had to pick 6 forwards, 4D, and a couple goalies from Massachusetts, who would it be?
Well, there's not a lot to choose from.
There's only 2 goalies, actually.
Yeah, there is only 2 goalies. But I think our teams are similar because there's not a lot of great players currently from Massachusetts, but I think it's a little different. So I got my 6 forwards: Jack Eichel, Matt Boldy, Charlie Coyle, Weymouth's phone, Will Smith, Ryan Leonard, and Colin Graff. I have my forwards.
Okay. My forwards, I have Beniers instead of Graff. Everybody else is the same.
Okay. Yeah. On defense, John Carlson, Noah Hannafin, Matt Grzelcyk, Ryan Shea.
All right. I got Hannafin, Grzelcyk, Carlson, and John Marino.
Okay. And then the goalies, DeCord and Drew Comesso, because that's all you get.
That's it, brother.
But number one, I don't think this would ever work because you're not going to have a 50-state tournament. There's not enough guys from other states, first of all.
Right.
So
no, it would have to be, the most
like Minnesota, Michigan.
Narrow it down to, and then there would be people left out and bitching.
Or maybe you take maybe you take, Minnesota, Michigan, Mass, or New England, whatever.
Yeah, you could do New England.
Regionalize it.
Yeah.
And that would
they pitched a regionalized one where it was Canada and the US, and they split it into 4 quadrants. And then they picked a team and they tallied up the current NHL points of all their players. And whichever of the 4 teams had the least amount of points got to draft first from European players.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like the sound of this.
I do. I think I like what it could become. You just have to figure out how it works.
Yeah. I like the sound of it. It's thinking outside the box. It would give a little interest.
It is.
And the drafting the European players, I think, would be a cool little add to that thing. But look, it's still glorified pond hockey at the end of the day in the All-Star game. And it's a waste of time. So I would rather see like a 4 Nations or World Cup of Hockey or the Olympics than, a bunch of guys who don't really give a shit about going out there and skating around 3-on-3 for, 20 minutes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Now,
still not real hockey at the end of the day.
In the back half of the corner, this is going to be more along the lines of an On the Bender, a little bit more fun stuff, if you will. What is the silliest thing you guys have ever done to impress someone?
Silliest thing to impress someone?
Silliest, dumbest, whatever.
I don't know if I've ever.
I the only thing I can think
been
of.
Married a few times. He's got to have a list.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is my ex-wife Holly's mother had a birthday, and she was big on Highlander. She had that whole, I don't even know what that is. Movie Highlander.
That's like the Scottish Highlands, like
Scottish Highlands. Okay,
the kilts and the
so
swords.
I did wear a kilt to the party in honor of her mother, like just to sort of represent.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah,
nice thing to do. I can't. I really don't.
You
Probably
can pass if it's
say.
that agony.
I don't really think I've done much to impress people.
No, you're not one that gives a fuck about that.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. But
Okay, then here, let me line you up right down the middle for the next question. What's the funniest movie or TV show you guys have ever seen, and why?
I still think the funniest movie I've seen that I laugh every scene is Animal House. Like, I just think that Animal House is a really funny movie.
Animal House is up there. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Christmas Vacation is very funny.
A regular vacation.
Yeah.
Um,
Wedding Crashes is very funny.
Wedding Crashes. Hangover is still one I probably laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
There's a lot. Spaceballs is good.
Mhm.
Stripes
was really funny. I mean, there's some old Bill Murray movies that are funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably go with
Caddyshack, yeah.
Yeah, I probably would go with like the original Vacation.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it so many times now that it's kind of worn off, but I still I recite it all. I still quote it all the time.
Really funny. Yeah, it is really funny.
But I would say probably like right now that I still laugh is probably Hangover. I think Zach Galifianakis in that is hilarious.
Yeah.
And Ed Helms.
And if you could create your own holiday any time of the year for any reason, what would the reason be and how would you celebrate the holiday?
Any time of year, a holiday. I would probably this is what I would do. I would, because my birthday is in late June. So I would include my birthday into like July 4th and I would make it like a week long.
Okay.
And like give me the entire week off. That's a good little. Give me the end of June through July 4th weekend off. That would be. I would enjoy the hell out of that thing. Just like a week in the middle of the summer where I don't have to fucking deal with anybody.
I would say like
Super Bowl Monday. That's a good call.
Super Bowl Monday is a great call.
That is a good call, Bruins 1970.
That's a good call. I think yes.
Fantastic call.
I like that.
That's a great answer.
That's one.
That
maybe
is
like the first day of summer after this long fucking winter. Like first day of summer is like barbecue day. Everybody's gotta have a fucking barbecue in their yard.
Yeah.
Burn the place down. But that's a good one. Day after Super Bowl.
I now have some fire questions
to
finish us off here.
Jesus.
Okay.
If someone offered you a box with everything you have ever lost, what's the first thing you would look for?
Anything I ever lost. So I didn't. Well,
like could be lost, like lost as in like you don't have it anymore.
Okay. So at one point for a little while, my dad actually won at auction the shirt that Bobby Orr wore when he scored the goal, like the in the air. Like,
are you shitting me? The game worn jersey?
The game worn jersey. My dad,
had it?
He won it off of WBZ, Dave Maynard. He won it.
Are you fucking serious?
He had it. Yeah, for a brief time. So that's what I lost. I got a photo taken in the jersey of me as a kid in it. And I don't know what happened to that picture. I have it. I had it.
Oh, so you lost the photo.
So I lost the photo.
Where's the jersey?
It was like his boss at his work actually was the one who like bid on it because it was a ridiculous amount of money. But my dad actually picked it up and had it for a brief time before he gave it to his boss.
That thing must be worth $1 million.
I got a photo taken in it, and I never. I don't know what happened to it.
Jesus, that's amazing. I don't have anything like that. I don't know. I mean, all the money I've lost. Maybe I'll look for that first. I don't know. I don't really have not anything off the top of my head I could think of. I don't. I don't know. I don't really have anything that.
It's all right. We can move on. You know,
really
Smitty got to skip one, so here
Yeah,
we go.
that's a good one. Christ.
Now, this is a question that you have to answer for the other person. So Matt has to tell what Smitty, and Smitty has to tell what Matt. If you guys were to be arrested, what would you get arrested for? So Matt would have to guess what Smitty gets arrested for. Smitty would have to guess what Matt would get arrested for.
Okay.
I think so. I have to guess what Smitty gets arrested for.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Some sort of road rage event where he's outside the car, like
An assault.
beating people.
I think Matt would be arrested for shoplifting or I don't think he's not really a drunk driver, so I'll stick with shoplifting.
Yeah, that's probably. I'd probably just lift something. You don't need that. I'll take that.
Yeah, Thank you.
Maybe. I don't do anything violent, and I don't.
Yeah, he's not a violent guy. He's
the newlywed game.
Newlywed game.
The last one should get interesting. If you were the president of the country and you could make one thing illegal that is currently perfectly legal, what would it be?
One thing illegal that's legal?
No. One thing that's currently legal, and you could stroke of the pen, make it illegal. Nobody could ever do it again.
Wow. These are like deep thoughts.
It is a deep
You know
thought.
what? I got one. I got one.
There you go.
Fuck fireworks. It's illegal. That's it. No more fireworks. That's it.
That's a good one. That's right up your alley.
It is.
Screw everybody.
Yeah.
While Smitty thinks a lot of the popular answers for some hockey folks was people banging on the glass at a hockey game.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of anything that I would want to make illegal. People that annoy me, I'd like to make that illegal.
Yeah.
People that drive in front of me, that go
There's
slow.
a lot of little things like people not ready. You're in a long line and you don't have your money ready. Like just some
people that go 55 in the fast lane. I mean, I don't know. Like there's a lot of minor irritants in my life.
Yeah.
That really piss me off.
Eileen must Eileen likes fireworks. Eileen likes things. It's not that I don't like fireworks. I just don't understand the phenomenon behind it. They all look the same every single time. Like once you've seen one really good fireworks show, you've seen them all.
That's 100% true.
And here's what I don't like. I'll on 4th of July, absolutely.
Sure.
But in the middle of November in your driveway, and the dogs barking. No.
I mean, look, those people should be allowed to set them off because there's a good chance they're going to blow up their hands.
There is a good chance because they're probably intoxicated.
Yeah,
I think so. Well, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's all she wrote for today. So hopefully everybody feels nice and cozy and close to you guys after getting to know you. And on to next week.
Great. Yeah, here we go. All right, comments. Let's go with Victoria. So who's coming out with Lucas coming up? Well, he's going to take that third line left wing, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
For Steve's and Eyssimont. So, some teams are blessed with defensive depth, says Pejman. Others with depth down the middle. The Bruins, though, have the best ninth floor depth in the entire league. Yeah, I don't know. Goaltending is their strength. I don't think anybody would deny that. Like goaltending is their strength. I mean, what is their strength beyond goaltending?
The Bruins, David Pastrnak in goal.
David Pastrnak, yeah.
And I don't know if I would say goaltending. I would say Swayman.
Swayman is a strength, and Pastrnak is a strength.
Yeah,
there you go. David Bissett, Poitras should demand to be traded. He's clearly not part of Sweeney's plan. If Sweeney even has a plan, I would assume he's an RFA, right?
I believe so, yes.
And does he have arbitration?
We talked about this before, and I believe he does not. I believe what Connor told us the last time.
I mean, is there another 1 year kick of the can, $950,000 for Poitras? Come on.
I mean, I think his new agent, is going to do whatever he can to get him out of town to a better opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, hockey talk. It's frustrating. People act like we think he's a world beater. I'm just frustrated at how they are treating this forward prospects. Now he has no trade value and nowhere to play. Yeah, I mean they do a good job of just killing the trade value of all their players.
Yeah.
Matt Curtis, today the Athletic had us ranked finishing 6th in the Atlantic and missing the playoffs.
I saw that.
I think that's valid.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have Ottawa jumping us and Detroit staying in and Columbus jumping us too.
Well, here Matt Curtis has Atlantic has Sabres, Lightning, Canadians, and Red Wings are wild card 2 from the Atlantic, and then Metropolitan, Canes, Blue Jackets, Penguins with the Islanders as wild card 1.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, there you have it. Red Wings making it, and Blue Jackets is what Athletic have. Victoria, do you think the leaky defense is more likely that it's someone, whether it's McAvoy, Zadorov, Lindholm, are having to cover for their partner's ass because they blew a coverage? I think it's some of that, Victoria, but I think it's system. I think it's trying to get used to this system, and against really good skating teams who possess the puck well, it's a real drag. And the Bruins don't possess it a ton in their zone. So there's a lot of turnover to transition. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the defensive deficiencies of the team. They don't possess it a lot in their own end, in the offensive end. They turn it over a lot in the neutral zone. They turn it a lot in their own zone trying to advance it. And it just creates a lot of poor coverage situations.
Yeah. I mean, one example of, McAvoy covering, but it still led to a goal is the other night when Apricots got beat to the outside. McAvoy slides off his man to pick up Apricot's man because he was beat. And then the guy passes to McAvoy's man and he scores. So that, it was bad defense all around. But McAvoy was trying to cover for Apricots getting beat, and they ended up both getting beat. So, it's kind of bad defense all around. They got to figure out a different way to play teams defensively so that when a guy gets beat, they don't have a lane right directly to the net that's causing, more problems than if, there was a layer there.
Right. Zach Hayes, scouts got to travel more, get out there all the time on the road. Yeah, I think that's part of it. Since COVID, I mean, I happen to know the dad of a Colorado scout who used to play in the AHL and a little bit in the NHL, and he is a Colorado scout but lives in Chelmsford or Massachusetts somewhere. And he's traveling in the East, and goes to the games in Hockey East and stuff. But I don't think there's a ton of travel and a ton of in person as much as there used to be. I think there's a lot of video. I think there's a lot of I think there's
regional scouts. So he'll be the New England regional scout for Colorado, and then there should be a scout that's his boss.
Right.
So he comes and sees some guys in the New England region. He says, "Oh, I really like James Hagens and Dean Letourneau," and then his boss comes and watches James Hagens and Dean Letourneau too, and he determines for himself, what he thinks of those guys. So you have more than one set of eyes watching the player, and you get scouting point of view from multiple people is the way it should work. So, everybody might have a little bit of a different idea on the prospect, but if you all have you've seen some similar traits, among the guy, then you say, yes, maybe this is a guy we like because we all agree that he has X, X, and X. If you just have one guy looking at him and this guy says, yeah, he can do all these things, he looks like Connor McDavid, and then, the guy's cross-eyed and doesn't know, is that way out of a paper bag, then you're taking the word of a guy that, was never watched by anybody else, and you blew it. So, I feel like you need to have, multiple scouts and then multiple guys watching, the guys that you're interested in.
Yeah. And then DKJ Barry, would you rather Morgan Geekie or Jake DeBrusk? I'd still want Geekie, I think.
It's Geekie.
Yeah,
I looked up DeBrusk's stats after I saw this question. Yeah. DeBrusk has never scored 30 goals in a season. Not once.
Never. Not one time. I mean, Geekie has that elite shot. Like, we talk about elite skill.
Mm-hmm.
And he has an elite skill. He can shoot the puck really, really well to score. And he doesn't possess it a ton. He doesn't play make a ton. He's not a great passer. He's not really a great decision maker with it. But if you put it on his tape and he shoots it, I like our chances. You know what I mean? So, and that's fine on a second or third line. I don't think he's a top line wing. I don't
either.
I don't think
DeBrusk was either, though.
No. I don't think he was either. Yeah. And I think Geekie is probably a second line right wing, maybe even a third line right wing on a really loaded team. Go ahead, Connor.
Morgan Geekie is a third line specialist, where Jake DeBrusk is a third line utility player in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I don't know if you're calling a 30 goal scorer a third line guy. It's not a lot of 30 goal scorers on the third line. No.
Well, when all he does is score goals, as you guys have previously mentioned, and he's currently been buried to the third line. I mean,
he's playing on the third line, but
sure, second line with a pretty good center.
Like he should be a top six guy, but they don't want to mess up the second line they have currently, and they, for whatever reason, don't want to take who's Nadine off line one.
I don't know.
So I don't know. Yeah, so like I don't know if that's really where he belongs.
I think Sturm really likes Zadorov.
Yeah, sure he does. He tries hard, and he tries hard, and he's got some speed. He's good on pucks. Like, he does the right things. Yeah. He just needs to produce more. He doesn't produce enough to be a first line player.
He doesn't. Hockey Talk, Hagens, no pressure kid. He's either a 1C or the Bruins are rebuilding for a decade. That's why I trade him for Thomas, who is a points per game center. But apparently we are in the minority. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. Like, if it comes down to Robert Thomas and Hagens, I'm taking the guy who's done it at 26 years old on a really good contract. Like,
absolutely.
That's how I look at it. I know that people are really hooked on Hagens, though. They because again, been waiting forever, it seems, for a really good prospect to be, that young player like the Pastrnak, like back to Joe Juno back years ago, like the anticipation of having your big time prospect come. It's a thing. It gives you a chubby. It's a thing.
Well, there's also the very real possibility that he is not a center in the NHL.
There's a very real possibility because they don't even have him playing fucking center.
No, they don't.
And if they had him playing center, then that'd be one thing. But since they played him wing for much of the season, then that leads you to believe that they wanted to play wing. So now I'm concerned about, is he a natural wing who can play it? We've done this game. Like, is he a natural wing who can play wing? And maybe he develops as he gets older into a center and you move him over and he's fine, whatever. But I don't know.
I think what they have to do, especially with him early on, is playing with a guy like Zacha who can be the center to take the face-offs or whatever. And then you let Hagens kind of slide to wing center, offensively, and then defensively, Zacha has to take the center responsibilities, and he, is a wing basically on defense.
Right. True. Right. Go ahead, Connor.
That sounds like a perfect role for Elias Lindholm after you get rid of Zacha.
Try the other way around.
Yeah, getting rid of Elias Lindholm, buying that thing out, taking it hard,
saving it, trading it.
Oh yeah.
Long term, IR it.
If they take the whole contract, trade him for a 4th rounder.
Yeah, I mean,
just get rid of the contract.
Give him a slip disc. Give him a degenerative back disease. I don't know, but I need some kind of magic to happen to get him off the roster.
Yeah, I wonder what they do.
They want to trade the Sweet Holmes.
I can't wait for all the rumors you hear this summer.
Yeah.
All right, Beauty and Bender. The beauty this week, you know what? I'm going to give it to old Mason Lohrei.
Mason Lohrei.
Mm.
Mace.
This'll teach those filthy bastards who's lovable.
Mason's been good the last, I don't know, since you restarted here.
Yeah.
After the break, he's been really good defensively, offensively. Like he's really fitting in. He's really doing it. I think he's kind of redundant with Hampus Lindholm. I think you have to do something there, but maybe Lohrei does have some future.
Yeah. Pajron, he nailed it.
Ding, ding, ding.
Bender is Mr. Elias Lindholm.
Have a Bender.
Pretty easy, like you said.
Yeah.
The John Beecher Award goes to Elias Lindholm because he, he's just not getting enough from a guy you're paying first line center money to. We keep bringing it up, but it's not our fault. You paid first line center money. For that.
You said it when it happened. I mean, we got to pull. You know what? I got to go back to that episode. We got to pull like a little clip of you talking about that because I want to hear what you said, rehear what you said when that signing was made because you weren't happy.
I was not happy.
No, you were not happy at all. Foreshadowing. Hey, we're going on a bender. We're going on a bender today. 10 questions, 10 randos. Hopefully they're as good as fucking Connor's was.
Yeah, I know. Jesus.
All right. Number 1. Window or aisle seat?
Aisle seat.
Aisle seat. Okay.
Yeah. I like to be able to put my legs into the row in front of I like to stretch it out a little bit.
Okay. 10-hour road trip. You can only listen to one artist. Who is it?
Oh, that's a good one. 10 hours.
I have one if he doesn't take it.
I've always been a big U2 guy, so I'll say U2. I mean, I know people hate them and they're very polarizing, but they have kind of a pretty eclectic mix of songs.
They do.
So you can get some slow ones, you can get some bangers, you can get some they have a pretty good variety of stuff. So I think over 10 hours that wouldn't be bad. I could handle that.
Connor, who'd you have?
My number 1 would be Alice in Chains, and number 2 would be Iron Maiden, just for the length of all the songs in the albums.
Okay, all right. I would go Journey.
Journey's good.
Journey has a bunch of B-sides and stuff.
They do.
Just really good songs.
They
I
do.
tend to listen to those more than the hit. I don't really listen to
the hits.
super hits. I listen to the B-side types.
Get in
Do you
deep.
want to know what Purgatory sounds like? It's a 10-hour car ride for Matt locked into the car with Train and Dropkick Murphys.
Oh, Jesus. Fucking Dropkick Murphys.
I mean, that's my purgatory.
That would be talk about slow bleeds.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Train. I would yank, if we had to listen to Train only in the 10-hour car ride, I would yank the car into oncoming traffic in about 30 to 35 minutes.
Yeah.
When he got into Hey Soul Sister for the third time, I would fucking yank it into traffic.
Drops a stupider.
Alice in Chains. I love Alice in Chains. I don't know about 10 hours worth of Alice in Chains, but I'm a big Alice in Chains fan.
Okay. If you could only eat 2 foods for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Probably chicken wings and steak tips.
Chicken wings. Yes, I said
I would eat chicken wings every single day if I could.
I said pizza and pasta earlier, but I'm going pizza and wings.
Yeah. Oh, pizza. Yeah, pizza's good too.
Yeah, pizza and wings. Damn, maybe pizza and ice cream.
Yeah, pizza. I'm a big ice cream guy too. That's a good call.
Yeah. Eileen's a big ice cream. I like ice cream. I mean, I like ice cream, but chicken wings I didn't even think of. I was talking to her about this before because this is actually a question she came up with.
Yeah.
And I was like, pizza and pasta, I guess, but I didn't even think of chicken wings. Oh god.
Chicken wings. When I was down visiting Billy when we were down in Florida. I mean, me and you when we were down there.
Yeah.
We had wings twice in 4 days.
We kept having wings.
We did. We went back to the same place more than once.
Yeah, we did.
And then when I was with our other buddy, I probably had wings like 3 more times. I probably had wings like 5 or 6 times in like 7 or 8 days.
Yeah. Pasta and apricots. That's good. All right. Favorite Disney movie?
Miracle, does that count?
Yeah, sure. I would go Remember the Titans.
Oh, that's a good one too.
That one. I like that one. Miracle's a good one too. Last online purchase.
I think it was a new controller for my Xbox.
New controller for your Xbox?
I think so.
Are you okay with full service gas stations?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. See, I had a problem with it. We pulled up for whatever reason in Bridgewater area or whatever. There's a section where there's like 3 gas stations and all of them are full service only. And it's like 2026. And I just have this thing about look at it. It wasn't much more price difference or anything. I want to jump out the car, put in what I want, and get out and get going. You know what I mean? You gotta wait for the guy and
yeah. I mean that's that's.
I don't know.
But like if you're gonna give me like if you're gonna give me like the Back to the Future, like the old Texaco station where you got fucking 6 guys come out and like one of them like checks your oil, the other one's washing your windows, somebody's putting your air in your tires, and the other guy's filling the tank. Yeah, like fuck yeah, sign me up for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Matthew Curtis says, "Do you tip?" Not the guy or the full service guy, but I do. I typically am a good tipper by nature.
Weymouth being all full service brings me immeasurable rage.
Oh, yes, Weymouth is all. That's right. Eileen told me that Weymouth is all full service. Yes.
Yeah. It's the Charlie Coyle effect.
What about when it's 40 below? Yeah, then I can let Jose fucking take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Text or call?
Oh, absolutely text. I get. You talk about immeasurable rage when people call me. I fucking hate it.
I said this. I was like when you text someone and they call you back. Oh.
Why can't you just text me that? Like, don't fucking call me. I don't want to talk to you. Yes. You can fucking Jesus Christ. Just text me. Oh my God.
Yes.
Just text me.
I hate it when you text someone quick and they call you.
Yeah.
Like, what do you call me for? Just respond to the text.
Respond to the text. Fuck's sake.
Jesus, I wanted to give you a quick call about it. Why? Jesus. Last time you mailed a letter.
I can't remember, so that tells you a long time.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I mailed a letter. I mailed some bills, although we still pay most of them online, but I've mailed some bills.
Yeah.
One of the last times I was at the post office for real, I think I did I posted about it on Facebook because a guy in front of me was trying to mail live birds through the post office. I was fucking beside myself. I had no idea what was happening. The guy literally he had a box of birds and he was trying to put them through the fucking mail. And I'm like, how is this possibly legal? But apparently it is. Apparently it's legal.
Being the representative of Connor's chicken coop, that is 1,000% legal.
Isn't Peter knocking on the door? Like, why?
I mean, I would think so. But Jesus Christ, I couldn't fucking believe it. Oh, and of course, I'm not mind. All I want to do is buy a goddamn stamp, and this guy's trying to mail fucking birds.
Oh my God!
I could not.
I don't even know how you do that, like without the things dying. Like, how do you do that?
I mean, there's holes in the box, obviously.
Holy shit! What does that cost?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a bunch of rules around it, and you can only ship it within a certain distance, and the package has to be within 24 hours delivered. You can ship
24-hour ship.
Look at it. All these people know.
They know the bird box. Yeah, Victoria's right on it.
24 hours. All these people are shipping birds all over the country.
Victoria's like, I ship my parakeet across country. It's 24-hour ship.
You ship bald eagles all the time. It's not a big deal at all. I couldn't fucking believe it though. They made them step aside so I could buy my fucking stamps and leave. Thank God.
Thank God. But, you can ship reptiles too, evidently.
Yeah.
Live python. My friend mailed a live python to his house in Connecticut from where we lived in California. Nobody knew. Wow. if you could start again, what would you do for a career?
I'd probably do like something in IT or cybersecurity or something like that, where I could make good money still doing computer things.
Yeah, I would have made more.
Out of sport management, going to, so I could be fucking Sweens myself.
Yeah, I would have made more of a go with it with sports broadcasting and radio or whatever. I would have tried to stay in that longer.
Yeah, you're doing it now, living out your dreams.
I'm doing it now for for oodles of money.
Yeah.
By the way, the tip jar is open. Speaking of money, how much money is in your wallet right now?
Probably like $14 somewhere in there.
You have 14 more than I do. I have 0.
I think, yeah. The only thing, and I would need to go to the bank to get it, but the only thing I pay cash for these days is haircuts. That's it. It's the only thing.
Well, that makes sense.
That's the only thing that I pay cash for these days. And so $14 wouldn't cut it. So I would need to go back to the store.
No, $14. No, there's no
my haircut now is more than is like $30. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you go like a man? Do you get like the whole thing?
I go to like a fucking barber. It's ridiculous.
They manscape you?
No, don't do any of that shit. They don't wash my hair, nothing.
Yeah.
I should go to one of those places where they like massage your scalp and wash your hair and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I go to some guy named Dan in Norfolk.
Sweetie, you're not allowed to go to those places with the massages and stuff unless you have a hydro flask. Those are the rules.
Yeah. Bring your hydro.
There was that place. Do you remember when? Have you heard of the place Knockouts?
No.
So it's like apparently like the like the Hooters of haircuts. It's like hot girls in tight clothes that cut your hair. I should go there instead. There's one.
Where is this?
There was one in Mansfield. I don't know if this is
really.
Yeah,
I've never heard of this concept.
I've never been, but I've heard, that they have
it makes a lot of sense.
Like fridge and like, I think they might even sell alcohol there, maybe. Yeah. But
he's gonna have FOMO. You got to knock it off.
I have my own manscaper. Yeah, I don't need to pay for it.
Yeah,
but that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I should be going.
What does that cost?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea how much it costs, but Bruins 1970 says $500 a haircut. Probably is. Probably like
in Mansfield. Robert Kraft was probably there.
Yeah, probably.
Jesus.
Orchids of Asia.
That's an interesting. It's called Knockouts.
Called Knockouts. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it. That's enough. $2 from Hockey Talk supporting Maddie's dream. Maddie's is free. I'll give Eileen the $2 next time. Hey, let's reconvene tomorrow night after Winnipeg, Boston. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for hanging out with us for a couple hours tonight.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow night. Till then, as always, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.